When I started lifting weights, I obviously knew there are going to be quite a few positive side effects to me lifting weights. You're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger, you're going to look better. But then there are also negative side effects that I didn't expect that are going to be there from lifting weights. So for an example, the side effect that I've noticed the most during the last couple of years is that I'm constantly in pain. And it is not the type of pain that you think. So it's not like I've accumulated a lot of traumas from lifting weights. So that is not a pain that I feel from traumas, but it's also not the good type of pain. It's also not like pain from my muscles being tired and from my muscles growing. And the thing that I've discovered is that it is something in between. So it's kind of like a micro trauma. So for an example, like I constantly have this feeling that one of my shoulders is a little bit more sensitive than the other. And like I've even went to the doctor with these sorts of things when they started happening because I thought that maybe I have a trauma or something. But then I would go to the doctor, we would do the x-rays, and well, there's nothing there, nothing's wrong. And the thing that I've kind of figured out is just like when you put your body under constant pressure and when you're constantly doing heavy weightlifting, your joints are just going to get tired and you are going to become a little bit more sensitive in general. And there's also no clear-cut solution to these kind of things because obviously, as I previously mentioned, you can't really go to the doctor because the doctors are mostly not going to find anything. But the thing that I discovered that kind of helps me when it comes to managing these sorts of things is just being smart and using common sense when it comes to lifting weights. So for an example, if my shoulder is in pain, or for an example, if my knee is in pain, I'm just maybe not going to do a shoulder day or a leg day during that training session, and I'm going to do something else. If I feel like it's not that bad, but it feels a little bit sensitive, well, then maybe I'm going to do legs if it's like a knee pain thing, but I'm going to go lighter. I'm not going to go as hard, and I'm going to be very careful with the movements to not traumatize it more. And when I started having this approach with these kind of like sensitive areas that I have on my body, it actually helped significantly and it kind of made everything much better. Also, I feel like a thing that people quite often do when they start feeling these kind of things is they just jump to like substances and they start using TRT and start using things like that, which can definitely help if you're predisposed to low levels of testosterone. But that is always also not going to be the best solution to these sorts of things. So it's like, okay, if you actually really need it, okay, fine, you can do it. But also maybe it just makes sense to like practice common sense a little bit, just like manage your training volume and just be careful with the things that you do. Think about proper form. If you feel like you do have something that is a little bit more sensitive, then maybe don't train that muscle group for that day, maybe do something else. So yeah, like for me, this was kind of the approach that kind of solved it for the most part. I still have pain all over my body in like random places, but well, when something flares up a little bit more than it should, I just manage the volume, I just manage the intensity, and so far so good. I have avoided like any major traumas, and hopefully it's going to stay that way because that is something I'm definitely not looking forward to. So yeah, that is my approach when it comes to managing these kind of things. I tend to have a lot of ups and downs when I'm dieting, and it's almost like you're on your period for like guys basically, because like I would wake up in the morning and I would be like absolutely amazing, like everything would be great. I would have the best of moods, I look shredded, I feel shredded. I would go to the office like in the best spirits. And then when a few hours pass and when I've spent a few hours within the office, then my mood goes down because I become hungry, I become sleepy, I'm tired, and I don't really want to do shit. And then eventually the day ends, I go back home, I get ready, I go to the gym, and it is time to go to the gym. I go to the gym, I start the workout. If the workout is going good, then my mood once again improves. And normally, like somewhere mid workout, I start feeling good. Then, closer to the end of the workout, I'm like fucking amazing, like ecstatic. And then I go back home. I eat, I start doing stuff, and then my mood can stay good or it can go downwards depending on how does everything go. So if everything goes my way and if I'm happy with how everything went during the evening, then I'm probably going to be fine and I'm not really going to have any issues when it comes to my mood. But then if something goes down or something doesn't really meet my expectations, once again I'm going to get bummed out. Plus, on top of it, normally by that time I've ate all the food that I had for the day and all the food that I was allowed to eat for the day. So you just start having these thoughts of like fucking ordering McDonald's, cheating on your diet. You start crashing out. like your mood swings start kicking in. So that becomes a little bit difficult. And I feel like for me, like when it comes to dieting, like the hardest part isn't even necessarily the actual starvation and you actually being tired and the fact that everything hurts, which obviously is also a problem, but it's not really the biggest problem. The biggest problem that I have is like the mental mood swings. That would be the thing that would kind of like mess with me the most. And that would be the thing that I would struggle the most with, because that also affects my efficiency when it comes to like me being able to stick to the foods that I should stick to. Because like you just being hungry, okay, that sucks, but it doesn't really matter. You're just hungry and you're just like tired. But then when you start like playing with yourself and having these mood swings where you start thinking about like cheating on your diet, that becomes a little bit problematic, because that actually messes with you. And sometimes you're actually going to cheat on your diet, which is absolutely fine. You just kind of have to go back into it afterwards, and you kind of have to stick to the diet after, even if you cheated like once or twice. But yeah, it just kind of slows everything down and it kind of makes everything a little bit more difficult. So when it comes to dieting down, for me, it's not really the actual hunger, it's just like the mental mood swings that are going to be the biggest issue normally. And even though they never really ruin my diet, I'm always able to stick to the diet anyways. That does definitely complicate things a little bit. So those are the things that I kind of normally struggle with when it comes to dieting down. But yeah, other than that, today was a day full of mood swings. I went from being happy to being sad to being happy again. And now, finally, it is pretty much the end of the day already. So I have a few things left, and then I'll just get into bed and fucking meditate there until I fall asleep. And well, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, as I always do. So see you guys tomorrow.